This is the plaintiff, Wendy Ehlers. She says the defendant is a lowlife who sucker punched her in the parking lot after she told him he was taking up 2 spots. The guy's a criminal with 30 incidents on his rap sheet, and she's here suing him for the $5,000 she is surely owed. This is the defendant, Joseph Rossi. He says the crazy plaintiff attacked him as he was sitting in his car, and he defended himself and slapped her to get her off of him. When he left, the plaintiff attacked his car, damaging it. And if she thinks he's paying her all this money, she's crazier than he thought. He's accused of causing bodily harm. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $5,000 for car damage and harassment.
All parties, please raise your right hand. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Manal is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Ms. Ehlers, you were at your neighborhood marina. What's the marina? What city is this in?
That's in Patchogue, Long Island.
Okay. And what happened?
I was with my 5-month-old puppy. I was socializing him. There was no spots available. The place was completely packed. And as I was walking, I noticed that Rossi, I will not call him Mr., Rossi, was parked in 2 spots.
What do you mean by parked in 2 spots? He was straddling him so that he has more parking space room, you mean?
Correct. It was in the middle of 2 spots, meaning it right in the middle, taking up 2 spots.
Okay.
I was approaching the bench. He had his window open. He was smoking pot. I said to him, you couldn't have made it easier for someone else to park? It would have been nice. Just like that. With that, cursing, screaming, yelling, telling me that he owned the place and he'll do whatever the F he wants. He called me a fat, ugly bee. Actually, what happened was he blew the smoke in my face. And I said to him, nice. I said, time for the police. And as I said that, he gets out of his car and he started screaming obscenities at me, cursing at me. I said to him, I'm going to call the police. And with this, and there he is shaking his head. Sorry.
Don't,
I said I was going to call
just testify and don't do facial gestures, Mr. Rossi. Go ahead. That's all right. Go ahead.
I apologize. With this, he sucker punched me in the face as I was walking away.
Wait, right before that, he got out of the car. How long is he out of the car before something happens?
A second. I was turning my head. I'm deaf in my left ear. And as I was moving, I said, this is a police matter, about to call the police. And he said to me, get away from me. And as I'm walking, get away from me or I'm going to punch you in your fat face. And I said, you would actually hit a woman? And with that, boom, right in my face.
Okay. And then what happened?
I landed on his vehicle, and he ended up backing up. I had my puppy, and I was screaming for someone to help me. And he just continued to go. He backed up, and as he was backing up, he tried to run me over. And,
okay, so the police get there, and do the police do the police write a police report?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, this is your statement. Were there any witnesses to this? Because there had to have been witnesses.
There was, and she is afraid.
Okay.
Because she saw what he did to me.
All right, so did an ambulance take you away?
An ambulance did take me away, yes.
Okay, how long were you in the hospital?
I was there for the afternoon.
Okay, and what did they do?
They took a bunch of x-rays, and that was pretty much about it.
Do you have any pictures of the injuries?
I submitted everything to you, Your Honor.
Okay, give me 1 second. I am looking at some pretty severe injuries to your thigh. How did that happen?
Correct. That was from when he was dragging me with a vehicle. He ended up backing up.
But how does he drag you with the vehicle? That's the part I don't understand. How are you trying to hold on to the vehicle?
I was, because if I didn't, I would have fallen. That's in the hospital.
Did that turn black and blue?
It did not.
What happened, Mr. Rossi?
Well, Your Honor, I was sitting in a LDOC parking lot, and as this lady, Wendy, knows, I'm there every day. Every day, same spot, same 2 spots. The reason why I parked in 2 spots is because people were crabbing at the time. And when they crabbed, they walked through between the cars with long crab poles and nets, and the kids are running. So, and between that, my loud music, they give me dirty looks when they park next to me, people. So I take up 2 spots in the car.
Well, we all want to
And the
take
place
2
was-
spots, but you don't get to
Yes,
take
ma'am.
2 spots, particularly when they're crowded. Go ahead. So go on.
Well, I could assure that the time of day that we were there, the place is less than half packed. So I'm sitting in my car and I'm smoking a blunt, okay, and I have the windows up, okay, and all of a sudden I see this lady walking across the parking lot. She walks in front of my car, comes to the driver's side, and Your Honor, starts screaming at me at the top of her lungs. Okay, so I kind of, I'm smoking, I'm laughing it off. The worst thing I know I did was roll the window down. So once I rolled the window down, she smelled the pot. And now with her rant thing that she's doing about me in 2 spots.
What is she saying?
How?
What is she? Yeah, tell me exactly what she's saying.
I can't remember exactly, but I could tell you a roundabout. She was saying, like, I shouldn't take up 2 spots. Who the do I think I am? You're probably not even a resident. I know she said that to me. So,
Okay,
I'm sitting
so
in the
what
car.
happens?
She is screaming, screaming, screaming. She's got this dog with her, okay, on a chain. So I turn around and I says, why don't you back up, you fat, smelly. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That's exactly what I said. I should have never rolled my window down. I know where my mistakes are. And
Well, how about just you should have never said that. You should have never rolled your window down. You should
I know.
put away the blunt and call the police. There's lots of things you could have done. But anyway, go ahead.
This is why I shouldn't have been smoking pot, because pot makes me a little bit more hyper. But yet I'm sitting in my own car, in my thoughts, minding my business. And what she did next was step forward, and she starts hitting me in my chest.
She hits you with what? Which hand does she hit you with?
With her backhand, her right hand. She's hitting me in the chest. She's coming forward to get a better swing. She's hitting me in the chest with her backhand. And I see the chain for the dog, and I know she's up against my car, which I'm worried about her scratching the car with the chain and her hitting me. I decide to open the door and get out. Here's my second mistake. I know my mistakes. Okay? So I got out of the car, and as I'm getting out of the car, she's still hitting me. So I slapped her. I slapped her right across her face.
With open hand, closed hand, what?
Open hand, Your Honor. Your Honor, I only got one on today, but I wear these big monster rings, and I usually have 2 on this hand, but I left it in my brother's car last week. And I should have never did this. And let me tell you, I don't feel good about saying on national TV that I smacked a woman across her face. But this woman was hitting me and assaulting me, and I just had open heart surgery. 2018.
I'm sorry to hear that. Let me just ask you something, though. You're in your car, and you have the keys to the car, and you can drive away, put away the blunt, and call the police. Are you sure she wasn't making you angry, so you got out of the car to whack her because you felt like it was well-deserved?
She was making me angry because she was hitting me in my chest. What am I supposed to do? I'm just telling. Listen, I know the truth is ugly. It's easy for her.
So am I right? Am I right that you were angry and you got out and you whacked her because she was whacking at you?
Yes.
Right. So when you got out of the car, was that the first thing you did?
The first thing I did was slap her across her face.
What happened after you slapped her?
So I jump in my car and I pull out. Now, I don't have to back up. I'm already backed in the 2 spots up against the curb. All I got to do is pull forward and go out. So her saying something about me backing up.
What happens as you're driving out?
This lady is running towards the car. She's running. And she hits the quarter panel of the car with her hand. Hits it. Bam. What am I going to do?
Does she damage it?
I didn't know at that time, but yes, she did.
Do you have a picture of the damage to your quarter panel?
I didn't. I tried to take a picture, but it's such a small circle dent that you can't, like it's not even scratched to dent. So you can't really see it in the photo.
Okay, so go on. What else does she do?
And then she does this mad search for me, Your Honor. And I'll tell you the reason why I don't call the cops. Because the cops and I don't work out good for us. What was I supposed to do? Call the cops and say some lady screaming at me? Oh, and by the way, when you get here, I got no license. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke. I'm not going to swear and then tell a bunch of lies.
So at the time you didn't have a license?
No.
Okay, so what happens after all of this? Did you go out and get an order of protection from him?
I did. Yes, I did.
Okay. You know, you say that you're afraid, but I'll be honest with you. You strike me as a woman who's really, really angry and wants to get her pound of flesh, because what ends up happening is you end up getting into this. You find his criminal record. You find out that he's trying to get a driver's license reinstated in Florida. And then you write to the judge in Florida telling him everything that happened. In fact, you didn't just write to the judge in Florida and tell the judge that.
I wrote to the ADA. Okay. I wrote to the governor.
You wrote to the governor's office and told the governor's office that you would hold the state of Florida responsible if he ends up getting... Okay.
That is correct.
And you have a witness in the room with you. Who is the witness who's in the room with you who you want to have testify?
That is his ex-wife, who he abused, physically assaulted, and this is his...
You have his ex-wife in the room with you?
I do. I reached out to her as well. Okay.
Let me hear from his ex-wife. Go ahead, Douglas, please.
Yes, ma'am. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Your Honor.
What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Nora Rossi.
And why are you here?
Wendy reached out to me. Initially, I didn't want to respond to her because I was nervous because I have an acting restraining order against him for abuse. And after I saw her pictures and I saw I heard the story of what he had done to her, I just felt obligated to help her out in any way I could.
How long were you married to him?
7 months.
Okay. Go ahead and please switch and put Ms. Ellers back. Mr. Rossi, did Ms. Ellers ever actually reach out to you directly?
There's a witness. She produces a witness, and I don't even get to respond for all these accusations that my ex-wife just said about me.
Okay, you know what? You're right. Let's hear that first. Let me hear your response to what your ex-wife said first. Go ahead.
My ex-wife told a lie to you because when I got arrested for domestic, it was for sending a text message to her from Texas. I know that. She knows that. Why she would make this up right now for this lady, Wendy, I have no clue. But the bottom line is, I have never put my hands on my wife, ever. Because had I put my hands on my wife, she would have had me arrested. I wasn't arrested in New York for touching her. I was arrested for sending her a text message while I was in Texas at my daughter's house.
Well, how do you get arrested for sending a text message?
Because it was a threatening text message. She had sent me a text message of her and her new boyfriend telling me how he would destroy me. And I actually have proof of that with color portraits that I printed out for the court when we were getting divorced and going through this injunction.
Okay. All right, let's try to get back on track. Mr. Rossi, did Ms. Ellers ever actually reach out to you directly?
Yes.
How?
So at 5 o'clock on October 20th, I get a text message, which I submitted. Then I get a second text message, and I wrote, who is this? Because I didn't know who, I got the phone number, but I didn't know who it was. Like if I had known that.
You really are a sick. Don't send me anything ever again. If you do, you're going to jail, you ugly, fat piece of blank. Who sent who this?
That's her sending it to me.
To which he responds, who the is this? But what is she talking about? Because she says, don't send me anything ever again. What had he sent
I don't know.
Well, Ms. Ellers, what had he sent you?
I received an extra small lingerie, disgusting, very distasteful. I haven't been an extra small since I was a teen. And it was addressed to my last name.
Okay, you're guessing that it was him who sent it?
I know it was him.
Because you guessed that it's him, because you know in your heart, you then actually reach out to him and send him a text, so now he has your cell phone number?
I was absolutely disgusted at that point. I've learned.
But why would you reach out to him and then now he has your cell phone number?
I was 100%.
I mean, it's nuts.
Wrong. You're right.
Okay, so I am going to take a short recess. So just stay where you are. Court is in recess. During the recess, I spoke to the witness who could not come to court today. Let me show you a few things. Apparently, Ms. Ehlers, this is you right in his car. Mm-hmm. She couldn't believe how in his grill you were. Whatever she saw you doing in that car was enough for her to say, get away from the car, just walk away. Then she sees, when he's driving away, that you are chasing after the car.
Like I said.
Which is pretty nutty. Now, it may be like you said, Mr. Rossi, but it is not self-defense to get out of a car, come up to somebody, and smack him because they had it coming.
Because she was punching me in my chest.
I was not punching him.
I need you to stop talking, Ms. Ehlers. You've done enough.
Sorry.
You are putting yourself in such danger, I can't even begin to tell you.
You're right.
You are finding out about somebody having this kind of criminal background, and then you just push it. Like, your obsession is an unhealthy obsession. It's unhealthy.
You're right.
And if I were you, I would worry about you and getting to a healthy place mentally. I would.
You're right.
Okay? Because that is infinitely more important than this. When I look at the picture, it is not a picture of a punch. It is a picture of a slap. When I look at the horrible injury on your thigh, it is consistent with what the witness says you were doing, which is running afterwards and trying to grab the car. It is nutty. It is nutty. But you know what it doesn't do, Mr. Rossi? It doesn't in any way, shape, or form justify you getting out of a car and slapping her. Now, is it the punch that she describes? No, it's not the punch that you describe. And would it account for the injuries? Stop talking. And would it account for the injuries on your leg? No, that's infinitely more consistent with chasing the car, okay? But is it worth something? Yes, it's worth something in a court of law because people don't get to get out of the car and smack you because they're sick of you. They don't get to do that, okay? They don't get to do that, Mr. Rossi, okay? Ms. Ehlers, let me just say a few things. I don't know if you hit him, but I know you were up in his grill over the fact that he is a jerk who was taking 2 parking spaces and you didn't like it. And I do not recommend that kind of contact with someone. I don't care what they're wearing or how they look. It was a terrible idea. Yeah, but see, here's the thing. You didn't just have that contact that day. When you say never again, I don't believe you for a second. You're obsessed with this because your behavior since then has been the kind of behavior. I was a homicide prosecutor for years. And this is the kind of stuff you do not want to do. You're hearing about how violent he is, and then you're turning around and texting him and giving him your own phone number. You need to take a breath and take a beat here.
100%.
Of all the things that I've heard and seen in this case, I'm not sure that anything can paint a picture better than this picture of what it looked like.
And that's
that
the 2
day.
old ladies that I was telling you about that I'm glad they had taken
this picture
pictures.
where you are right there. You're not talking to him and saying, hey, you're a jerk, don't take up 2 spaces. You are right inside the car. I don't know if you were hitting him, but boy, you are just right inside that car.
Your Honor, I haven't lied about anything.
But even if you had hit him, that would justify him rolling up, calling the cops, getting law enforcement involved. It doesn't justify getting out of the car because that's not self-defense, that's anger. You don't have a right to get your last licks in. That's not self-defense. I am finding in your favor, Ms. Ehlers, but not in the amount that you are asking. I'm ruling in your favor in the amount of $500 on the counterclaim because there's no evidence of damage to the car, 0.
Mr. Rossi, there's a lot of testimony. We can't go over all of this, but let me ask you a question. Are you surprised at all, and in any way embarrassed by all the information that has come out here on national television?
No, I'm not embarrassed because I told the truth. I smacked the woman that was punching me in the chest. I'm not going to be embarrassed about that, and I'll do it again. But that lady right there, she just lied on national TV, brought my wife in it, brought my family in it, and she made $500.
And now turning to Ms. Ehlers, the plaintiff, who the judge awarded a $500 judgment to, not $5,000, which she was seeking. Let me ask you, number one, are you in any way embarrassed by all the testimony that has come out in this case?
I am not. I will do whatever it takes to make sure that the guy never drives again. He has hurt too many people. He's a danger to society. And again, I did nothing wrong. Nothing. Especially not hit him. Absolutely not.
You say you did nothing wrong, but this case changed dramatically when that photograph of you right up next to his car with your arm in the car actually...
I was telling him to put the weed out, that there were kids there. It was disgusting. That was what I was saying to him.
Well, that was quite a case. Let's see what the judges have to say about this one.
Wow, I don't even know where to start here.
I can't imagine that she learned anything.
You pointed out that you thought there was craziness on both sides here, and the defendant, Mr. Rossi, sitting in the car, he was kind of doing a lot of stuff he probably shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah.
Not the worst things in the world, but stuff he probably shouldn't have been doing there. And then, of course, she comes upon him and has to get right in his face.
That's right.
I have to tell you, though, I'm really old school, and I believe that there's never a justifiable moment to punch or hit a woman in the face, unless maybe it's Ronda Rousey, MMA fighter who
she'd whoop you. Well, Ronda would clean the floor with you.
If it were Ronda, I would submit.
Yes, yeah, I know you would.
So Bella in New York wants to know this. Hey, Harvey, is a signed notarized note just as acceptable in court as a witness if they cannot attend? Well, here's the thing. In small claims court, there is an exception. They do allow these notarized statements. And a judge can consider it, though discount it, if the person isn't present because there's no cross-examination. Notarized statements like that in bigger courts where a lot more is at stake, they are not admissible.